So we've already plugged in our oscilloscope and function generator. Before we turn them on, we're going to go ahead and make our electrical connections for the lab. So for the oscilloscope, I have a BNC to alligator connector. We're going to use channel 1 only here. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this and quarter twist to lock that into place. On the other side, we have our function generator. I'm just going to go ahead and go red into red here, black into black here. When we go to make a connection for the oscilloscope, we need to make sure that the reds are connected together and the blacks are connected together. I will show you what happens if you get those reversed. It has to do with the internal grounding in the oscilloscope itself. So let's go ahead and connect this correctly. And then we will go ahead and turn both of these on. Initially, there's not going to be a signal coming out of the function generator because the voltage will be at 0, but we will take care of that. So I'm going to first change our frequency here to our first signal frequency, which is 90 Hertz. And change the voltage to 3 volts. And you should see that as soon as I turned up the voltage here, I have a display on my scope. So we only need channel 1. The only things we are going to play with are the scales and positions, and we're also going to use some of the scope measurement tools in a second. We don't need to touch the trigger display today. So if we change our scale, I'll change that up. So you can see I'm kind of zooming in vertically on this or zooming out. What this means is at a bigger voltage per division setting, like 2 volts here, I have less sensitivity but a bigger range, and for a smaller volts per division setting, I have more sensitivity but less range. Put that back at a volt. On our time per division setting, that is indicated here. You can see as I change this, I'm zooming in horizontally or zooming out horizontally. And ideally, when we want to measure this, we're going to need a full period on there. So we're kind of right at the ballpark of either of these settings for this particular wave. That's 2 zoomed in, and going one more, that would be 2 zoomed out. So we'll go ahead and stick with this for right now. So the positions will only change where this lies vertically or horizontally. It's not changing the scale at all. And there are times where it is convenient to reposition either vertically or horizontally. Like if I want to measure period, I can set this peak here, and now I can measure across peak to peak fairly easily. If I want to measure vertical, I can set my trough there. That way I can measure up vertically fairly easily. And that's really, for right now, all we need to worry about with the oscilloscope.